to Everyone Racers,
a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of Lemmy Champ or Lucky Track Dog league you run.
FSAE or NASA, we don't discriminate.
as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussion,
Tips, tricks,
as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing.
whether it's on the spot.
hella sweet,
Or we're lucky enough in Chrissy.
Chrissy,
I give you just the tip.
we're sure you'll giggle a little.
And learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Tim,
And I'm mental.
and we are Everyone Racers, and welcome to a Mercedes-Benz SL Mille Miglia. Piggly Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly. Yeah.
417 episode.
Oh.
This car is one of 417 special edition models commemorating Mercedes' unexpected win in the 1955 Italian road race called the, no idea how you say it.
The Piggly Wiggly. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Bobbity boopity.
It's kind of what I was
Bibbidi boppity boop. 60 years ago, Mercedes 300 SL was driven by a pair of Americans to a first place in class and fifth overall over the 1,000-mile road course. The race started at 4:17 a.m. and the 300 SL's race number was 417, hence the 417 moniker. Link is in the show notes. Pretty cool car. Check it out.
If you would own one, you'd have to know how to say it, because then you're not really cool.
Biggity
And they're-
biggity.
Like you own a what? Oh,
I own a
that-
Piggly Wiggly Mercedes. It's totally fine.
oh,
Oh, I own a 417.
or just be more confident in your answer.
Whatever.
What would the vanity plate be? Wiggly Wiggly
Ooh.
417.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
That's a great question.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go. Listeners, what would your vanity plate be on the unpronounceable race version of your Mercedes? Yeah,
Put it
tell
in the
us.
doodly do.
Yeah.
Well,
okay. Okay.
You're not working on an unpronounceable Mercedes, Mental, but what are you working on?
Yeah. What is?
I mean,
yeah.
it's a bad decision either way.
Oh,
So
yeah,
come
totally
Yeah.
terrible decision. So I, in anticipation of having some days off, I've got the Formula SAE car that I got from our buddy Mike, over the Sonoma race weekend. So that is literally up on sawhorses. So I can start taking it apart. 'cause
Safely.
yeah, it has to.
Safely on some-
Well, so
It
you're worried
is a
about the weight.
It's a go-kart,
I
Chrissy.
know, but
It's a
still.
go-kart.
It's a carbon fiber go-kart. At one point, because you will chuckle, at one point I was under it trying to get it on there and it fell off the sawhorse and fell on me.
And you said, "Ow."
It tickled.
I'm like, oh, well, this is
Oh, well,
embarrassing.
good.
And then I like reach over behind me and like kind of lift it and
Oh,
you know,
crap.
shimmy out from underneath it. It weighs nothing.
Okay,
So,
fine. Good.
Yeah. So trying to get the, but it's center lock hubs. So I've got to find like the socket to get the center, bore, like, Harbor Freight has some of them, but I've got to get like the exact measure on that one. So, but
How
How do
do
you
you
keep? How do you keep from lifting the whole vehicle up in the air while you're trying to torque those down?
Push it
right?
down.
I have no idea.
Put
So-
a dog. Oh wait, your dogs won't help.
I think my dog might outweigh the car. by
I
maybe a
know.
pound. Yeah.
I just like, well, if you had Rika, you could put Rika on the car and ballast.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then she'd be like, why am I in this car?
Why am I doing this?
This is stupid. Put me back in the living room so I can watch TV. So, I've been doing that. So, shuffling projects around and just, we were just making fun of ourselves for next year's New Year's goals episode, but trying to adhere to
Oh.
some of my New Year's goals.
Gonna be a good one. There's gonna be a lot of
It's gonna
sadness
be
and
entertaining.
laughter.
I don't know if it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that. And then I now have all of the parts for the Porsche. So I've started the gearbox rebuild. My
Oh
goal
yay!
is to be back in the Porsche before the year is up. So hopefully next week I will have a positive update on that one.
You know
and I
what?
can-
You said it on the show, and therefore we're gonna hold you to it. So you
All right.
better get working
Well,
now.
you have the VHS copy of the How to Rebuild a Porsche 901 transaxle.
I do.
Oh, you're good. That's right.
Which I was watching it work. What the hell? Just shut up. It's a car thing. Okay. Yeah. Well, it figures Mental's watching that one. So that's really just been it. There has not been much else going on.
Great.
Where's the bread van?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I did start the turbo rebuild on that, and I got the wrong part. So the new inside of the turbo doesn't fit. So working to get the replacement version of that one. So but I got the turbo off of it. It's sitting on my workbench. The turbo may actually weigh more than that at Formula SAE car too. But
Didn't you bring a new turbo home?
No. Anton drop shipped a new internal, the new guts. We did find one of the potential problems is the hot side shipped a blade. So that might have been.
Don't you have a new turbo that you brought back from a bribe from Sonoma?
Okay, that is literally the difference between like my dog and your dog. That turbo that I brought back and the turbo that goes on the bread
Will it
van.
get it out of your driveway?
No. I would be better off strapping it to my dog and trying to get my dog to pull it.
Okay, fair.
And for our guest, the dog that I have left, and normally if he hears me say dog 3 times, he comes running in here. But I've got a Chihuahua, so that's the joke about the tiny dog.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the bread van was still at your house. I'm sorry.
Apologize to my neighbors.
Yeah, you're like
Your wife.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's another week, and you're going to have to start selling meth out of it. So it's up to you. So.
I don't know. This
if you
really
parked it on the street.
Less meth, more like
free dogs
selling
and
70s,
candy.
like at a flea market, 70s porn magazines. I feel like that's really more the vibe of the bread van. You know, the guy that's got the stand over there in the corner, and you don't want to touch anything that he's touched. Yeah.
So more acid and mushrooms than meth. That's what it sounds.
Yes, exactly. Traditional.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
Just clarifying.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Oh goodness.
That escalated quickly.
As it does.
It usually does, Jeff. It usually does.
That's how it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Chris.
I've been working on not having electricity.
You have?
Yes. Well, I've been doing work on the house as a result of not having electricity.
Fine.
Right.
I've lived here with no power.
You've lived here with no power. Well, you've had it better than most.
Fine.
So, brief story: we're in the mountains outside Denver. Fire is a real risk here. Like the whole neighborhood could burn down. And a couple of years ago, the electric company left all the power on during a big storm. The power lines go down. They catch a fire to the ground. There's 80-mile-an-hour winds. Guess what happens to the fire? And, lots of things burn down. So the government of Colorado said, you can't do that again. You have to really...
They also got sued a lot. So there's that.
Billions of dollars. So
right.
Now that when there's a big storm coming and the typical 15% humidity here and heavy winds, they said, all right, we're going to shut the power off so that doesn't happen again, which I appreciate. Okay. So they did
fine
that here.
For a day.
Right. They did it here Wednesday.
Fine for
All
a
right,
day.
power's off Wednesday. Stayed off because, lines were down and they were
still
broken.
windy.
Right?
Okay, fine.
It was legit windy.
Yes.
So we started with 2 generators. We have 2 Yamahas, a 2000 watt and a 2400 watt that we had for various things. But this house, I haven't set it up. It's a new house to us. So we're running cords around, but we got the fridge going. We got the lights on. That's okay, fine.
We can charge phones.
Right.
We have no internet because that is also out. So that's fine.
Because it's a wide enough spread power outage that the internet company doesn't have power and the cell towers are spotty because they don't have power. That's a big area.
So we have a couple lamps. It's cute for the first time. So Wednesday
you're
night.
absolutely trapped in a house with nothing to do because you can't go outside because it's 80-mile-an-hour winds.
So Chris
we
brings
played backgammon and stuff.
Right. It's cute for a night, right? Like Chris brought sushi home. We ate by candlelight. That's lovely. We say, okay, fine. It's Wednesday.
Okay.
Thursday still doesn't come back on
Till 6 p.m. and it
6
comes back
p.m.
on. We're very excited. And also, I'll say we are in a rural area. We are on a well, and we have a propane boiler for heat. So it comes back on at 6. We're thrilled to take showers, get everything
my
great,
God,
but we
so
know it's going to
excited.
go off the next day because another storm.
They already know. They already told us it's going to go off on Friday.
So Thursday afternoon, I leave work early. I go to Harbor Freight. I go to another Harbor Freight. I go to a third Harbor Freight to find the last 5,000 watt inverter generator in the Denver metropolitan area. Get that in, rig up cords all over the house, and then rewire the well pressure pump so that we can have water that plugs into the generator instead of through the entire system, because it's a multi-pump setup on our well, and we have 1,000 gallons of water in tanks in the basement. So do all that, and it was very nice. Like, we lived an okay life. We were able to take a hot shower only on the generator because we had the boiler, we had the water pump, the fridge was on, the freezer was on, we had a couple lights, we had no internet, but we were living fine. That was great. We went skiing all day Saturday because what else are you going to do when you have no power and you live in Colorado is you go skiing. So we did that. So power eventually came back on, put everything away, but it was
Saturday
a lot of work in the meantime.
Night.
Saturday, 6 o'clock, power came back on finally.
On.
Aside from that, I'm finishing up all the work on the neglected lawnmower that came with the house, the Arian's tractor, new front tires, an oil change, and it came out glittery, and spark plug and things like that. But anyway, that's away now. So done with all of that stuff.
I have this issue of like, is the power on? Oh, good, the power is on. Like, because it's been off for that long, and we've been just waiting for it to come back on. That it's a sad game you're playing. Yes, there's still.
I do know a guy that sells batteries for backup power. If you want to reach out to me after
I heard about that guy.
Yeah,
I might need his contact info.
Yeah. So.
Very fortunately, we also put rain barrels in, so we were using that water in Harbor Freight buckets for toilets, and primitive living gets old for that long. So
we do. Longer term, we're going to set things up better because this is not the last time this is going to happen here. But we've been in this house for 3 months. So anyway,
still getting it all set up.
Yep.
All right, so we went skiing. It's been super warm here, so I'm not sorry for all y'all that are chilly. It was 60,
including the guy that lives in the desert.
Right? I think it was 65 at the house today. It wasn't 70. It was 70 in town. But yeah, 65. I went for a run outside in a t-shirt. I'm going to go for a hike tomorrow in a t-shirt. Yeah. So it's been great.
It's a lovely winter to be in Denver.
It's so weird. And it's kind of like we're all ready for it to be cold. We got a lot of fire. Oh, we were doing fire in our wood fireplace. Wood stove. And so we're learning. I'm getting better at it, but we just got a whole lot more wood delivered. So and then some Christmas things, sending some presents. That's about it.
So
Tim, what?
Tim, normal Tim, what are you up to?
Me?
Other Tim.
Tim that's usually on the show.
Yeah. When you said normal Tim, I was like, is that me or is that other? I don't know.
They generally don't call me normal, by the way. So I was even taken back by
my fault.
Timber
handler, tell me. Right.
So
what state are you in?
The state of
Texas.
Yeah. I am in the state of Virginia because why wouldn't you just continue on failing at all of your
Virginia
goals?
You don't live in either of those anywhere near that state. So okay,
I do not own a home within 8 hours of this
wouldn't
location.
even have guessed that one. Okay,
so
but somehow you still have to pay taxes because that's Virginia.
But my wife's parents do, so we are here for Christmas.
Okay.
So we came in. We had a flight Sunday morning to Boston, where we had to leave the house at 5:30 to get there for our flight, which was 8:15, I believe. And while we're driving to the airport, flight delayed. 11:30, gonna miss our connection in Boston. So my wife, being the rock star she is, finds us a different flight through JFK. So we now have a really long time to hang out in the lounge at SFO until our 11 o'clock flight. So we take that, we go to JFK, we have a 2.5 hour layover in JFK. So we're hanging out in the lounge there for our 45-minute flight to DCA to drive to our parents' house. So we spent more time in the airport than on the airplane. So that was awesome. So typical holiday holiday
Yeah,
season
holiday travel. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Shayna, they bought their tickets. They knew what they were getting into.
yeah, fair. So
I don't know, it feels like not that bad of a possibility because your wife travels a bunch, and
Oh my
we'll
goodness.
make the joke about you. So you guys probably get access to some wicked cool lounges. So it's like
It's
just
not-
basically hanging out at a really great bar.
it's not bad. It's not bad. But when you're there at 6:15, firing up a glass of wine is probably not the best idea when you got a 12-hour
Why?
travel day.
You're
in front
Tim
of you.
the
Burr.
worst.
I'm pretty sure you and I have drank at 6:15 in the morning.
I would not think any different. I
If
would.
you put orange juice in your wine, then it's classy and it's brunch.
Track's not
Okay?
hot yet. We're fine. Let's go.
If you drink Bailey's, it's like chocolate milk. Also not a problem.
Oh, I don't even count Bailey's. That doesn't even count.
That's creamer. Come
That's creamer.
I
Yeah.
mean, I know.
So
Ah,
Oh well.
yeah, so kind of a little bit of a lead into next week's episode when we're talking about me failing in all of my goals. I was looking at that and I was like, I need to like really get after it. So a couple of the things that are on my list, one of them is to get my Corvette running, which has been out for 2 years now. So I laid underneath that and found antifreeze leaking out of places and trying to tidy up little bits and pieces. Fired it back up, and it's running good. I've got to rewire it, so I started looking at that for the radiator fan. So when I took it out, rewind for those that don't remember, but when I took the fan out, the fan was had no plug. It was new. It's a new radiator. Upgraded radiator. They literally just like soldered the wires together and called it a day. So I had to clip it to pull it out. So I put just spade connectors on it real quick, just so I could fire it up and get it running. But they're like in the middle. They're hard to plug in. So I'm gonna redo the wiring on it to make it proper. Put good connectors on it. So I started doing that and getting my list together of what I need to do. There was an exhaust leak, so I started rooting around on that. So my goal is to get that sucker dialed in and drive it around the neighborhood a couple of times before the new year. So hopefully, fingers crossed on that one. But speaking of crazy wind, we had a really big windstorm in Maine, and our house in Maine lost a bunch of shingles on the roof. So I had to try to find a roofing guy to get out there and replace the roof tiles. So that's hard to do, actually, because we don't know who put the roof on. It was for Amy's grandmother put it on in like 2015 or something like that, who's no longer with us. So we don't have the name of a company that did it. So we found a company that would do it, and he was like, it's $1,200 just to like at a minimum to do it. And I'm looking at it on the camera and I was like, there's like 5 tiles missing. So I sent him pictures of it, and he was like, all right, I'll go out there for $1,000 and knock it out. I can knock it out today. And I was like, all right, well, it's painful, but it's worth it.
It's also December in Maine, and you're in California.
They've got snowstorms. Right. Well, I would, dumb me, right? I'm like, well, we're leaving here on the 27th. I could just fly to Boston and rent a car and go up and knock it out, and then drive back to the airport and fly back to California. My wife's like, no, hire the damn roofer and get it done. Because we looked at the weather, and it's like, chance of rain, chance of snow. Like, she's like, just get the house sealed up. So we paid the guy. He showed up late that day. It was like 2:30 that day, and I was like, because I'm frugal, I'm not cheap. But I was like, how long was this guy on my roof, damn it, for $1,000? Anyone want to take a guess?
15 minutes.
11.
Yeah.
Oh, 11.
Well, he had to drive there, right? Yeah.
You know where he lives? On the opposite side of the lake. Like, I can throw a rock at his house. Yeah.
Yeah, you
But
can't
you're
make it
not,
back.
you know this. You're a craftsman. You're not paying him for the 11 minutes. You're paying him for the 30 years to shows he can get up there and down in 11 minutes. But
Or for the chance
what's
that if he
really
falls off your
irking
roof
you,
in the snow.
what's irking
Not
you
wrong.
is you could have done it in 11 minutes, but I'm sure like you being by yourself with no supervision on a roof in a cold winter is zero safety concerns to your wife.
Yeah,
Not
so
great.
It was throw the checkbook at the problem, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Good
Sometimes
idea.
that's
like,
the best tool.
I wish he would have just like sat up there and like read a book for
Had
a
a
while.
sandwich.
Made me feel better.
It was cold and snowy.
11 damn minutes.
No.
11 minutes.
What if he split the difference and he sat in his truck and scrolled on Amazon for Christmas gifts that he's
Not
going to
wrong.
buy with his $1,000 he
$1,000.
just got?
Sure. Yeah, totally.
Oh, my kids were wanting one of these. This is great.
Crazy.
All right.
So yeah, so that's that. Well, you may have heard a couple of new voices on the audio, and if you're on video, you see a couple of new faces, and that'd be the voice of Jeff Zasulis. Did I say that right? Close enough.
I put it
I
in
like
there,
the phonetics.
I
Yeah,
put the
there you
phonetics
go.
in my name just because I knew this was coming.
First time. Yeah.
These guys are the creators of Race Setup Pro, which we're going to talk all about in a little bit. But right now, knowing the depth of winter in New England, Jeff, what you working on? Your timer?
Well, I was late for this podcast because I was just getting back from Maine. I sat up on a roof for 10 minutes, but I got $2,000 for it.
Nice.
I sat up there celebrating the power that I had at my house. Right? The fact that my 2-year-old car ran without leaking antifreeze and it didn't fall off the sawhorses.
Wow.
So,
That's good.
Good listening.
yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah, golf clap on that one, Jeff. Golf clap.
Sales guy, I gotta listen. So literally just got back from Maine today. My sister's a glutton for punishment, so she owns 2 Jeeps. Neither one of them run, so I had to tow one home and fix it and then tow it back up there for her. So dropped it off today. So Merry Christmas to my sister. But my winter project is working on my backup race car. For anybody that watches Grid Life, in the last race of the year, I lent one friend my race car. He ended up winning the race, which was good. But then another friend decided he wanted to buy it. And so what do? You sell it to him. So now I got to work on car number 2, but it's pretty much ready to go, getting it ready for Grid Life TC and maybe some SCCA stuff. So we'll see about that. But yeah, enjoying a freezing cold New England winter where single digits, we can ski. We do have snow. Well, we call it snow. I think for those in Denver, you call it crystallized water.
It's just ice. Yeah.
It's just ice. Yeah.
It's just ice. Yeah. But it's groomed ice.
Yeah.
That's
It's
not a thing.
groomed ice.
Snow doesn't make that much noise when you ride on.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Groomed ice is totally a thing. We have people that sell it out of little stands here. They put some flavoring on it. Yeah.
I do deserve this. I did make fun of you for not having power. You had your expensive roof.
Oh, we're used
Chihuahua.
to ice skiing, and it's been the last time we went on this weekend. It was glorious. Every once in a while, we'd hit a little bit of ice, and I'd be like, "Oh, I don't want to do that." And then everything else just like, "Oh, piles of snow." It's so great.
Well, I haven't skied in a long time. I just picked it up again last year and bought a new set of skis this year. But went out right away. First week in December, it's been cold enough. They made some ice, went down the hill, and all of a sudden you hit the slush and your skis stop, but your body keeps going.
Yep.
So yeah, don't be
Yep.
jealous.
Sticky.
Don't
Very
be
sticky.
jealous.
Oh, I'm not jealous at all.
Don't be jealous.
I am not.
But yeah, just hunkered down for winter. The RV is winterized. Work on the race car. I got a cool little shop with a heater in it. So figuring out what parts I need, try to procure them, before Christmas. So when the credit card bill comes in, I can be like, it was Christmas presents.
That's what it was.
Santa was good to me this year.
What sort of car is this backup's now primary race car?
Yeah, so both of them were E36s. This is just the standard, S52 M3 engine that came in it. But it was probably the cleanest HPDE car you'd ever seen. And once my buddy said he wanted to borrow my car, I'm like, well, time to take out the cutoff wheel, literally Tim and I were at the track and I am cutting the fenders off the car, and now it fits 305s, which, yeah, it should be fun. It's just 80 horsepower slower than my other car that I just sold, but it's clean, it's ready to go. It was long overdue to make it a race car.
You can do an S54 swap next winter.
That's what the last car had in it. So, and that's exactly it. I know a guy sitting in Connecticut in a blue hoodie that has an S54
in my garage
on the way, and he's probably not going to touch it for a while. So,
if you have the spare, you won't need it. So that's
right.
good.
Yes.
LS the world, bro. LS the world.
We've seen S54 swapped out overnight. It's totally fine.
It's not ideal though. Like ever.
It didn't run.
It's a fun engine. So the car that I sold was, it's the right horsepower for the chassis. It's 325 wheel horsepower, really fast. Surprises a lot of people. They don't expect a 30-year-old car to go as fast as they go. So for me, it's fun. And Tim's a glutton for punishment and has the same car. Just
yeah, good on you.
I'm a lead-in.
I have not done grid life for years. Loved grid life. We used to come to Road Atlanta, and I'd always go down there and do some of their HPDE instruction. I used to love how much they were like not to repair the fracture of the gearhead community, but just getting everybody to get along, the show and shines and everything. That's grid lives are always a lot of fun, and our friends over at Garage Heroes and Training do a lot of grid life stuff too.
And so we found out which ones are the parties and which ones are not the parties, because we expected it to be a party. It was quiet.
Autocrossers, racers, drifters, all at the same track and getting along and not pointing fingers about which one's better, which one's right, which one's wrong. So that part's cool. In the Northeast, there's SCCA. NASA, dabbles up here a little bit, so it's a little bit harder to do NASA here. Tim and I both run with a Northeast-based group, COM. It's Corvettes of Massachusetts.
Long ago.
Yeah. So we run with COM in New England, but grid life's just fun. Having a few friends that run in it, and that's really what the racing's about, right? Go hang at the track with friends, swear at your car, right? Blame your tires for why you didn't go faster.
If only there were a way to help with that.
If only there were a way.
Right. Great. How about Tim C? What have you been working on lately?
Yeah, so as Jeff mentioned, I do have twins on the way. My wife is due like any moment now. Like she might call me in a second and be like, it's time. But no, seriously, I've been working on like getting things ready for that. We did just have a storm in Connecticut. We had two big, massive trees in the yard. So went out and bought this awesome chainsaw and didn't kill myself and chopped that up and get it all.
Awesome chainsaw. I saw on social media. Wasn't it about that big?
Oh, dude, that one wasn't cutting it. Okay. Yeah, I had this little electric 16-inch chainsaw, and I got through one little cut and it was done. And the thing started, I thought I was going to kill it. So I went out and bought a way too expensive chainsaw for what I needed. And that was a lot of fun. But now I have these plans. I'm going to take down like every tree in the yard. I watched like 30 minutes of how to cut down a tree video, and
totally fine.
Your beard grew about 4 inches.
Yeah. Outside of that, I mean, I've been doing a lot of work to my car, basically just maintenance and stuff. I do have the S54 that I was thinking about swapping this winter into it. It's an E36, as Jeff mentioned. So I was thinking about doing something like that, but I'm actually kind of enjoying not working on the cars going forward too much for a couple months and just kind of parking it and getting ready for the season, doing a couple TC races, grid life races coming up, and yeah, just having some fun. So hopefully a chill winter coming up for me.
Well, and I'll throw Tim some props. I mean, in like a 2-week period, he swapped his car over to MK60, ABS system out of a newer BMW. Like it felt like he did it overnight. So he got a lot done at the very last part of the year. So it was impressive.
I was doing a lot of prep at the track for that TC race too. I kind of showed up with a laundry list of things I needed to do to get the car compliant.
Seat, window net, extra weight.
Extra weight. Yeah, the extra weight was good. Got creative with the ballast there.
Not adding dogs.
We thought about it.
couldn't find one. We couldn't find a Chihuahua. That would have been
Yeah.
just the right amount.
That's what I needed.
To hit the powered weight.
I will
not-
mail you one.
Oh no!
Every shelter's got them. Don't worry.
Right?
Oh, well.
Do you want them though?
Here's a little jacket, buddy. We're going for a ride.
Harness up.
The upside is he loves the track. So yeah, he's a terrible dog. He's a great Chihuahua because he's not aggressive. So yeah, he loves going to the track. He's like, oh yeah, everybody's gonna pet me. I'm gonna eat. It's gonna be great.
All right. Let's go in news and notes time. Okay. Oh, I just scrolled up. Okay. You're probably aware that retired NASCAR driver Greg Biffle and 6 others died when the business jet they were aboard crashed in North Carolina last Thursday. Biffle was also a well-known and loved Lemons competitor. After Hurricane Helene destroyed roads and isolated Western North Carolina, Biffle flew his personal helicopter into the region to help, rescuing at least one stranded family. He also delivered and donated food and supplies to the region with a response that touched thousands of lives. We are going to mourn the loss of racing icon.
Yeah, everyone says he was a good dude. So
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
shame.
People were posting pictures about him in Lemons cars. So, yep.
All right, so we're skipping the BMW screw thing because I love that.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
save it
I'm
for
going to
next
leave
time.
it in the show notes.
Yeah, that's
Fine.
why I only grade it out. It's good.
Fair enough.
I was so happy to find that one.
That's good. Oh, it's good. I like it.
Click
Stay
on the
tuned
link
for that one. Yeah. 2 drivers are suing Laguna Seca. Not like they have enough legal battles going on. After a day at the track turned into a nightmare when a track worker driving a telehandler crashed into their Nissan Skyline GTRS while they were stopped on the track front straight during a red flag earlier this month. Adam Ishmael from The Drive tells us about the 2 men were following Laguna Seca's instructions by safely pulling over to the side of the track after their session was red flagged due to another incident. While they were stopped, a telehandler, a large forklift-type tractor with an extension boom, entered the track behind them, carrying a stack of tires, and drove directly towards them and struck with both cars. The driver still inside, the collision destroyed the back of the red R34, crushing the trunk and rear bumper, breaking the rear window glass, and toppling its wing. The other purple R32 GTR was also seriously damaged on its right rear quarter panel. The lawsuit alleges that the telehandler operator proceeded without maintaining a safe and clear line of sight ahead and without taking adequate measures to ensure the path of travel was clear. He also allegedly failed to perceive both of the plaintiff's stopped vehicles in front of him in sufficient time to avoid a collision. It asserts that the machine was operated by a grossly negligent manner and the precautions of appropriate communications, as well as spotters and guidance, were not employed.
Kind of sucks. I mean, you go on a track, you take your chances about wadding up your car, but you're sitting safely on the side of the road. Not really what you're expecting.
Yeah.
Nope.
How does that track day insurance policy go?
I was going to ask that question.
That's why they pled gross negligence on this,
Yeah.
because the simple negligence is going to be wiped out, at least in theory, by some of the waivers. But if they can rise to the level of gross negligence, it goes beyond that.
Wow.
Anyway.
And
we
if
shall
you've
see
got
how it
that
goes.
dusty old bingo card, go ahead and check off Chris talks about insurance.
Insurance man tells you about insurance.
I was looking at the bingo card while I was on the plane. I was like, I might update this.
Yeah. Oh, well.
All right, but you know what? I learned something. I actually did not know the difference between simple negligence and gross negligence. I've probably lived most of my life with simple negligence.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, do you like driving, but you hate speed limits? Not only are you on the right podcast, but I'm in the right region because you could head down to Arizona. They are considering removing speed limits in some of the long stretches where there is nothing and you can do no one any harm. Caleb Jacob over the drive tells us that Arizona Representative Nick Cupper has an idea that can make the state highways decidedly less mundane by removing speed limits on certain rural roads during the daytime. These ideas are all bundled inside the Reason and Prudent Interstate Driving Act, or RAPID. If it passes, it's a pilot program that could run on aforementioned section of Interstate 8. Now, Cupper told Fox News that he modeled House Bill 2059 after practices in Montana and, yes, Germany. Both of those, quote, both found that 83% of the drivers stayed around 77 miles per hour because that's where they feel comfortable, Cupper explained. Drivers in these zones tend to keep a closer relative speed to each other compared to speed limit zones, which is a major factor in why these zones are actually safer. Not sure if it's actually going to come to fruition, but if you need to go someplace to see how fast I don't own a CLS 6.3 anymore, I-8 might be the place.
You did.
I did. Actually, the CLS did explore the limits of its capabilities in chunks of Arizona. Now that allegedly, I don't know. I don't live there, and the statute of limitations is way up. So yeah,
speed limiter on that particular car was 187. So that's
yes. I not like I said when I owned it, I never found the 187, but I did confirm that it did not shut off at 155.
Yep.
142 is plenty for us. I'm good.
For science. Just for science, of
for
course.
Science!
For science. Totally. Yeah. Research purposes. Because we care about you, listener.
All right. So let's talk about suspension setup. Racing Junk has a fully adjustable Longacre scale setup with wireless control, custom black airline included. So this
airline case makes a big difference.
Airline case.
You don't get a whole airline.
You get a whole airline.
Yay, an airline.
You get a black airline.
You could help out Tim right there, and he wouldn't have to sit in airport lounges anymore.
I'm sorry. I am editing on the fly. I apologize. This ad is very long. It's got lots of words. Basically, it's got get it on a level surface. It is good for suspension tuning, ensuring your vehicle handles optimally on track. It's wireless, user-friendly digital readouts, intuitive controls, and ability to save the weight data for multiple vehicles. There are 13 pictures in this ad, which is awesome. Lots of words. It is in Farmingdale, New York for...
This is not just the scale pads. This
Nice
is the
setup.
whole, this is the whole deal with the ramps and the everything.
This is a very expensive setup. And
Yeah.
3,500?
Yeah.
Can you go back and show the price?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't have it written down here.
Yes,
3,500.
3,500.
Yeah.
That is worth easily twice that. That is a heck of a deal.
That's like a professional setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you
none
want to
of
be
our listeners
awash.
need this.
Yeah, you want to be awash in alcohol and food at a Grid Life or
Yeah. Do you want to be the
Lemons?
life of the party?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
That's the one.
Now,
That's
why
the
would
setup.
anyone want to corner weight their car? What might that get them, for example?
We only
Frustration.
knew somebody that was competent in that area.
Well, you guys say frustration. What would be frustrating about corner weighting the car? Because we are looking for a little bit of a, for foreshadowing.
The first time you do, it'll be frustrating. You'll be, it's like the Christmas song there where he talks about, I pull one bulb and they all go out, and like that frustration when you corner balance a car and the first time you go to adjust one corner and it goes the wrong way. So you adjust it again, but you didn't realize which way you adjusted it the first time. So it even
And
goes
then the others are
wrong
wrong
way.
now. Yes.
Yeah. So, but it's a worthy exercise. I'm sure we'll chat about it.
Yeah.
We will.
Keep
All right, there
notes.
you go. There's
Keep
a little
notes.
foreshadowing on the video.
Right front, up one turn.
Yeah. Throw a GoPro on whatever you're doing and talk out loud. I am turning this 2 clicks to the right. Yeah.
Or get a innocent bystander that's standing with a beer with a notepad, because that's eating chips, and make sure that they're writing the right things. Okay. Listener feedback time. Go.
Oh, well,
Hey,
posted on the Spotify year wrapped up for Spotify on our Instagram. Erica the Welder said, "My number one podcast on Spotify."
She must not listen to anything else.
Now, also Curtis said he's eagerly awaiting the Sonoma song, and you laugh, but there already is one. Wait for the video.
Okay. B-Train added second only to the dollop for me. obviously we appreciate you and everyone else who blesses us there with their time. Thank you.
You know who else we appreciate?
I don't think she listens anymore because she's not going to the beach. That's when she used to listen. is in
That's
the car.
correct.
Oh, yeah.
Usually when they're
So
traveling. Yes.
It's the wintertime, so oh well. She'll hear it eventually.
Eventually.
So, yes, we appreciate Chrissy's mom and wish not only Chrissy's mom, but all of our listeners have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
That sounds great. Okay, it's main topic time. Let's get on with it.
As we mentioned, we're talking about Race Setup Pro. Now, this is not some Silicon Valley quick creation with hopes of selling it to some big app company and then, retiring on that. This is grassroots built by racers for racers. It's a concept. It's not a driving coach either. You can get tons of those, and a lot of them are very good. Some of them suck. This particular software is all about your car, and that is why we've got Jeff and Tim here. And I'm just going to say, we've got a quote from the website, and we're going to, of course, have that linked. But give us the elevator pitch.
Tim, I'll let you go first.
Elevator pitch for Race Setup Pro. It's a race engineer in your pocket. So imagine all the times you're at the track and you're trying to figure out and how to diagnose, hey, my car is understeering in slow corners. What do I do? You'll end up going and talking to a bunch of people. They'll give you a bunch of different answers. Maybe you open up ChatGPT and maybe it gives you some answers. And I'll guarantee 3 out of 5 might be right. So pick wisely. But Race Setup Pro is kind of a refinement on that, right? We take a bunch of data. We do use a bunch of AI training sets to help improve kind of our recommendations. But really, it's kind of going through and being a race engineer in your pocket. You can go through and basically after a session, go through a quick set of questions, kind of tell us what's going on with the car, and we'll give you some recommendations kind of in priority order. So you can start kind of tracking it down and start getting your car into the state that you need it to be in to accomplish your goals.
And I'll add, it's the most cost-effective way to find, quicker lap times. With a little bit of time at home before you get to the track and, 5-10 minutes post-session, you fill out the interview. And, our customers are the ones telling us. We talk about finding tenths, and the number of people that have reached out to us saying, I beat my PB by over a second. I beat my PB by a second and a half. And it's designed for anyone from somebody that's new to HPDE with a basic question of, what should my tire pressures be, up to, I'd say the most sophisticated car we worked with, other than the LMP2, that's a whole other animal, was a C8Z06 with quad adjustable shocks. And, he wanted to test the software. We're at the track with him. We put it in. He ran our feedback by what the suspension shop that did the work, and we nailed it. He's like, it's 100%. And I said, now you're not bothering your chassis guy on a Sunday. So, but it's literally the most cost-effective way you can find lap times.
All right, you say cost-effective, you are talking to the right audience, because we are all cheapskates, as evidenced by Tim considering getting on his own roof.
Frugal, not cheap.
Frugal, not cheap.
That's right.
Frugal, not
Different.
cheap.
It's
Frugal.
different.
Yeah, that's why it's cost-effective and not a cheap platform.
Fair, yes. So
We
a lot
want
of bang
other
for the
Tim.
buck.
Yes.
So yeah, unexplored territory, good way to see some massive gains. That's awesome.
So we've all looked at the website and whatnot and looked into it, but for someone who's listening right now, isn't heard of this, they heard your elevator pitch. What is this actually like for a person? Like, what do they do? What does the UI look like? What do they get, et cetera? Like, how does one interact with this?
Yes. So the way that I lay it out to people is on a Thursday before a track weekend. You would set it up initially where you'd put in, I think we have about up to 100 data points. You don't have to put in any. You can just, if your car's stopped, put it in. And then you will answer some questions that are designed to figure out what you're trying to do. And then it just makes some base recommendations on where to start. And so what you would do is say, okay, on Saturday, it's going to be 70 degrees. I'm running at this track, and it's going to give you some tire pressures. So you can make your first adjustments on Friday. You show up at the track Saturday morning, and you'd put in your actual weather conditions. Maybe it's 60 degrees, and it's going to make, but some suggestions, and you're going to maybe adjust your tire pressures. The real magic happens when you get off the track, and it's 5 minutes to do the post-session interview. and it's going to ask you how your car was handling. It's going to ask you about your hot pressures. Ultimately, if somebody can be putting in their hot temperatures too with a pyrometer, I mean, the output is phenomenal. But it's a garbage in, garbage out. If somebody's like, oh, I don't remember my alignment, well, we're going to assume stock alignment. So that's why we ask you to do it at home on Thursday when you have access to all the data. Don't try to do all that on your phone. But when you get to the track, you just do the post-session interview on your phone. It's going to give you multiple recommendations. We don't tell people to do them all. There might be a time and place where you would do more than one, but it's like, okay, so adjust your rear tire pressures. And then you go do your next session, come in, do another post-session interview, and it's going to make recommendations again. And it tracks all of this and it records all of this. So if you're a race team, you're doing a Lemons race at the end of the weekend, you know where you finished the weekend. So that can be the starting point for the next race, because we all trust the person standing next to us with the beer in the hand to be taking notes. And then we show up at the next race and it's like, where do we start? And it's like, oh, what did we do with the suspension? What were our tire pressures? What was the alignment?
You mean you don't understand Chrissy when she writes notes, and the notes to make no sense to even me, let alone to anybody else? You mean you don't understand?
Yeah.
That's legit. That's how I work.
Yeah. So short of like high-end amateur racing, junior level pro racing who have data engineers on staff, like this is the best way to even just record what your setups are. So we have people that are going to use it for just that. They're not actually looking at the advice. Now, I will tell you that the driver always will say, but what did Race Setup Pro say? I know you're telling us what to do, but what did the software say to do? And we're finding often, I mean, I hate to burst people's bubble. People like to run lots of camber, but they're not temping their tires. So as soon as they temp their tires, it's like, by the way, yeah, you're probably running 1.5 degrees too much negative camber. But we like to say we have -4.5 camber, -4 camber, even though your tires might only want 2.5.
Or
so
or the tire life. You really only want 2 because you're going to last a couple laps and then you're going to have to get new tires.
Yeah. And again, for endurance racing, like this is huge, but there's a, in this sport, there's a lot of ego, right? There's a lot of pride. So running, big camber numbers is cool. We find most people are running their tire pressures too high. And, we see people, experienced racers coming in going, hey, your software said to run my tire pressure is way too low. I'm like, well, did you try it? No. Like, hey, just for giggles, right? That's always my line. Just for giggles, why don't you try it and see what happens? Wow, my car just handled great. Huh.
Didn't that happen at pit race?
It did.
We had someone running Hoosier R7s, and I think they were using the recommended pressures at 38, really struggling sliding around, saying it was on glass and stuff, and they dropped him down to our recommended pressures. I forget if they were 30, 32, and I think he found like 1.5 seconds right there.
Yeah, so
38 out of the. Was it snowing? Good.
Well, the crazy thing is, if you go on any tire manufacturer website, they give you these really, really high numbers, and it's great for tire life. It's great so the sidewalls don't fail, all of that kind of stuff. So probably liability. But the reality is no one who's tested lower pressures runs them at those recommended pressures. So it's one of those kind of games where you kind of have to figure it out on your own unless you use some software or have a buddy who's kind of figured it out for you.
And
interesting.
I think Tim and I were both, guys at the track that were getting the question all the time of like, hey, my car's doing this. What should I do? So it's like, well, there's got to be a simpler way.
That's Chris. So
Yeah.
that's what Chris does. Basically, he's the person that drives the car and says, change these things and try it again.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about the software, like without obviously giving away your proprietary information. Like what's the data behind it that makes this work? Like every car is different, every tire is different, every track's different. There's so many variables to this. Like what's behind the scenes that is effective, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm going to say we're not perfect, right? We're following the 80-20 rule for the most part, right? Broad strokes, we want to be pointing you in the right direction. We understand that all chassis are different. We understand and ask for kind of what suspension you're running. Are you running, double A-arm? Are you running McPherson front strut? Do you have a divorced rear? Like what are all those kind of like facts about your car? And then we can, in general, what we've seen is we can make if we don't have information on a certain chassis, we can kind of fall back on just general advice for those kind of components, right? And we found that that works pretty well. What happens when we get more data is we can then go and analyze that with kind of stuff that we have behind the scenes to get the correctness up even more and more and more. So the more data that we get in, the more kind of cross analysis we can do on that data and figure out, is there a chassis specific thing that we need to work on here? Or is it just, the facts of kind of how the suspension is set up and how we can kind of make those recommendations?
And the key with the software, so Tim even mentioned earlier, you can go on ChatGPT and go, hey, my car is pushing, what do I do? And the best part is 60% of the time it'll be right. So just hope that you're not the 4 out of 10 times it was wrong, because AI is just looking out and finding data, and then it just looks for a second source to confirm it, and then it tells you that's the gospel. Mm-hmm. So the difference is we're able to train the AI to look at very specific data sources that we've loaded, and regardless of the chassis, there's some consistencies. So we know that, a corner balanced car will handle better than a non-corner balanced car. So if you corner balance your car and you put the data in, it's going to take that into consideration. If you don't put it in, it's going to say, hey, you should probably corner balance your car, right? If you are entering hot tire pressures, right, we can now take that into consideration. So there's a lot of it that is science and data behind the scenes. And that's where we just need the users to put it in. My one ask of everybody that signs up for our software would be also go out and buy a tire pyrometer. Because if you go to the track, nobody has them. It's just mind-boggling is the best information that you can get about your car is your tire temps.
Totally.
Nobody has it. But, we drop $2,000 on a set of slicks for every track day. And right.
And I think some of it is knowing what to do with the data. So that's what, going back to what Chris does, we know when he's going to come in. We said, okay, we're going to do 3 laps and it's going to be a hot lap. He's going to pull right in. We're going to do, outside, middle, inside, all of the tires. And then he looks at it, but he's basically your computer. So nobody knows that they need it if you don't know what to do with the data.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing I'll say is, even outside of chassis specific, I've seen a lot of people, like in my circles that I run with, where they go and set up a car, they put on some unique kind of modifications to it, and then they follow a setup that their buddy had for his car, and then it's not working, right? Mm-hmm. And then they kind of have to start at square one. So we really are in the position of having them start at like square 2 or 3, right? And then giving them the ability to iterate from there. And kind of on our back end, we're constantly kind of analyzing the data that's coming in to figure out where we have gaps and where we kind of need to make improvements. So that's an ongoing thing that's happening. But yeah, I mean, the reality is like everyone has a different setup, even if the chassis is kind of a similarity across them. Track conditions are changing, right? That's affecting damper viscosity, all this kind of stuff. Like there's so many things that people can't keep in their mind and kind of have to be codified to a degree just to make sure that they're taken into account. And because that might explain some of the handling issues that are popping up. So having that codified, even if it's generality, we've seen that kind of be a benefit, right? And been able to react to that pretty consistently.
And I mean, personally, I wish I had the budget to run sticker tires for every session, but I don't. So how nice would it be to know that when you're running these tires at heat cycle 10, this is how it's going to handle, and these are the adjustments you can make. So it's one of those things, if you're running an endurance race, what adjustments do you make at the first pit stop? I mean, you look at, pro level, I mean, they're adjusting everything every pit stop. And often we're just throwing stuff at it as we go. What if there was a software to say, hey, we know after, the first 2-hour stint, you should really start running your rear tire pressures 3 PSI lower to start, right? Because it's going to take that into consideration for the age of the car and what you're running. And then the next time you do an endurance race, you can go, hey, by the way, at our first stop, this is what we did, and it helped.
Or we can try to put gas in it, and that's it in like less than 8 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what we try to do.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's ideal. I think that's valid for Tim and I, and now that they're in the closer to the time zone, we run a lot of races out here on the West Coast where the weather just, last year, the Sonoma race, it, was raining for more than half the race. This year, 70 it was gorgeous. Notoriously button willow that we run is just hot as blazes, and actually having something, something to go back on and go. Last year when it was 105, we found that this worked really well.
Right.
Or at least having a baseline instead of the baseline of it's 70 degrees.
Yep.
How critical is it that people get all the data in? Like, I mean, you guys have fields for basically everything that could possibly be there. And I guess I'm sure there's some people out there say, well, I just don't have that. I just don't have that. Should they like find a way to go get that, or can you work with a lesser amount? Like, talk a little about
and
that.
what are the like 4 or 5 most important ones that you want to see?
Totally. So definitely, whatever the data that people put in is kind of generally what we're going to make recommendations on. As Jeff mentioned earlier, like we're going to assume stock if you don't put something in, right? There might be some warnings in there if you don't end up putting what kind of brake fluid you're putting in, or, if you have stock brake pads and have a pretty serious setup. Otherwise, like we'll show you some warnings. And that's mostly just so people understand, hey, there's a safety element here too.
My Wagner super quiet pads aren't appropriate for this.
Yeah, exactly. Your Amazon pads aren't going to cut it. I'd say the big things that we've done a ton of work on is really on the damper side. Let me pull up all of the setup information.
And you should be allowed to share that screen too if you want to.
Yeah, totally. Let's do this.
And while he's doing that, I went ahead and found a $60 tire pyrometer. So we'll throw that in the notes in case you're head over heels for this one.
And
this one has both the probe and the laser.
Wow.
Good. Because you need a probe one. People do it with the hard laser one from Harbor Freight. That doesn't give you what you need.
It's just the tip, right, Chrissy?
Always.
Well,
I will be right back. I'd update my settings. Hold on.
So the probe is critical. The inner tire temperature is more accurate. So Chrissy, you mentioned about Chris coming in and doing it after a hot lap. Obviously ideal. The best thing is you come in, you didn't even use your brakes on the last lap, right? The tires are as hot as can be. For most of us, if we don't have somebody in the pits, I mean, that's not, for the HPDE group, they're not going to have that. So our ask is then just be consistent, right? Get out of your car, take the helmet off, take the gloves off, take the temps right away. Don't get out of the car, go get a beverage, pet the dog, right? Take a walk. Then just be, because your brakes are going to impact the temperatures. Just be consistent, because the recommendations will then be consistent going forward. Yeah. So this is what they enter right here, what Tim was sharing. No.
Sorry, one sec. It's terrifying. I know how to use computers too.
I just saw the Matrix. I don't know.
Now we're seeing your email.
That was a lot of code.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, in Tim's defense, they've been trying to reach him about his car's extended warranty.
Yes.
I was trying to figure out how to decode DAV files, which are security camera files. There's things that I do in my free time sometimes. Anyways, I forgot about that one. So back to the important things that you should put in here. So let's see. So we can pull in a lot of information, right? So this is my E36 M3. You can put in everything from tires, your wheel width, your hot, cold pressures that you have set up. You can put in suspension stuff, any alignment information. If you have your car corner balance, sway bars, your aero stuff, if you want to add kind of any information around like downforce, right? This allows us to actually understand if we can make aero recommendations. Otherwise, we will make them, but we're not understanding if that's going to throw off your kind of aero balance. We have stuff around brakes, and this is really just all safety check stuff. But most important stuff, I would say, is chuck in your hot tire pressures. If you have suspension, tell us what kind of suspension you have, because it really changes like what kind of camber range we really want to target you at. Like if you have double A arm, we're going to change our recommendation versus if you have McPherson strut, just because of camber loss. If you have trailing arm, if you have multi-link, like all of that stuff changes the calculus, right, on kind of where the recommendation should be and what adjustability you actually have and what recommendations we can make. So any suspension information you have, if you have dampers and you have stuff where you can adjust your rebound and compression, and we accept anything up to quad dampers in here. If anyone on the call signs up, you have like, I don't know, 5-way adjustable dampers. I don't know if those exist, but let us know and we can get that added. but we might need to talk to you about that a little bit. But throwing
they're
damper
probably
stuff,
wrong if that's what they're saying that they have it. It's probably not right.
I don't know about it, but you know,
they're like, no, I have that, and you're like,
especially
no,
with our
probably
audience.
don't.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Hey
No.
man, this is stage 4. It's got it. Yeah.
No,
No,
it
I hooked
doesn't.
up this hydraulic system to,
Yeah.
and you're like, wait a minute.
And also,
what?
and I've got 4 degrees of negative camber. It's awesome.
Mhm.
Speaking of camber, tossing your alignment, right? It's super important. It ties into a lot of the stuff we do with tire pressures and tire temps that we ask for that people don't love to plug in, but there's so much benefit to understand when to take tire pressures, right? Take them, when you come in right off pit lane after a hot lap, like drive like you're driving a full lap, come into the pits, take your pressures. Otherwise, your insides are going to be real hot if you come in 6/10 or something and you have a bunch of toe out and toe in the rear. So give us your alignment. And then, I mean, I think really like tires, suspension, and alignment are probably the big ones. I like to tune a lot with sway bars, so I have my sway bar settings in here. But yeah, I would say tire, suspension, and alignment are really the big 3 where we can make a lot of gain for you kind of up front and pretty efficiently.
Do you do spring rates and suspension? Do you go that deep?
We have them somewhere.
Under suspension. Yep. Your spring rates. Yep.
Yeah, 12 kg, 13 kg. Yep.
And we give you the different rates depending on what springs you're buying or how you do it. From my perspective, I'm thrilled if somebody, if you have listeners that are brand new to this and you have a 100% stock car, all you have to enter is tire pressures. We can make recommendations on a bone stock car just on your tire pressure, because it is the number one question asked at the track is, what should my pressures be? And the only right answer is, I don't know. But what the software does is give you a, educated starting point. And then at the end of your session, you say what your car did, and all you have to enter is your tire pressures, and it's going to make recommendations that make your car feel better. And when your car feels better, you're more confident. When it's confident, you go faster, right? It's as simple as that. Now, it is Race Setup Pro, so you can go all the way through and enter everything, and it is going to look at it. But the things that you don't fill out, we're just going to, pretend it doesn't exist. So, but Tim mentioned the alignment. So temperatures are key. But if your alignment sucks, right, you're running, 4 degrees of toe out, right, that is going to throw your temperatures off. So that's why stock alignment are not starting to enter that in. What the software doesn't do is fix mechanical issues, right? So somebody has snap oversteer because there's something wrong with their car. We're never going to be able to help them fix that. So that's one of the things we have to be careful about is like
doesn't factor in like rotted out bushings or anything like that.
I was also thinking of like crash too much. So and I'm serious. So we had a Honda Civic that was crashed too much, and Chris, we would try different things and try to make it go straight, and we would go on a straight and it would not be straight. And that's what I think we came down to.
How many times did we align it and
and we tried and kept changing more things.
Who the hell knows?
Well, it was kind of rusty, and it was crashed too much. So I feel like that is one of those things where there's no button for that in your software to be like, how crashed is it?
How many times did you pull this straight with trucks at the track?
Right.
Or tree.
Right.
How many Suburbans have you parked on this?
Well, we have.
I would imagine if it was, even if it can't account predictability like from the get-go, from a start, but if you've got it to where it's repeatable, it can at least start giving you a direction. Or am I?
And that's 100% our goal, is to put somebody in the right direction, because there's no perfect setup. Once your setup is fixed, you should be going faster and exposing the next gap. Right. The other thing our software can't do is make up for really bad driving. Right. If somebody's
then this is garbage.
Your car is fine.
Right.
Look in the seat, because I think that's where your problem is.
So there are things, and this is stuff that we're looking at, but somebody could say, oh, my car has snap oversteer, but they're going into the corner like this, and they finally let off the gas and it gets traction and the car does this on them. Right. Like, so there's certain things that we are going to ask them what it's going to do. And the goal is to point them in the right direction. But this is not meant to replace, video coaching, data coaching, right seat, right? So because that's going to expose of like, hey, by the way, you're braking way too late in that corner and you're asking the car to do something it can't do, right? The software is not going to fix that. But what it does is it works really well with that. So we have a coach that, he works with racers and he helps them with their car, and he's asking them to sign up because now not only do they have a record, but then it's teaching them, because the software will then, Tim's done a phenomenal job of then showing them why it's doing this. Like, here's why we're making the recommendation.
So that's my question.
Okay.
You mentioned it on the website that you were adding the why. So why did you do that? And what kind of explanation are you giving the person that's inputting the data and getting the information out? Why is that important?
Just to make sure everyone's speaking the same language, right? So we give some information about like even the definitions of like what is corner entry, what is corner exit, what is mid corner, what is understeer, what is oversteer, right? So like those are things that we describe to people just so they understand. So we're getting the good data in. And then when we output kind of our recommendations, we want them to understand like a lot of us in the car community like to know how things work or why I should be making, like you need a little bit of convincing sometimes, right? If we just listed out bullet points of things to change, I don't know, I wouldn't trust it, right? So having a small couple sentences just describe why this recommendation is being made, how it's going to interact with the sway bar recommendation that's being made, like it starts to build a mental model to understand like, oh, okay, so if I reduce my front rebound, it's going to do this. Here's why. You start to internalize that stuff and just get to learn a little bit in the process, right? It starts to plant some seeds for you. And then sometimes if you come off the track, even if you want to jump in pit lane and like take a little more rebound out to kind of enhance whatever the recommendation was, like go for it, right? And like you already have the intuition that like, oh, maybe turning it more is going to keep doing that same thing that I'm struggling and trying to tune out. So it's really just educating people and giving them a reason why.
So I'll throw myself under the bus. Like, no clue how to do most of these things, right? Like, I got into this because I like driving and I am learning to become a mechanic because I have a race car and I have to figure out how to do it, right? So when it's fascinating to me to be able to look at the large variety of chassis that are out there. I'll use my stable. For example, I've got a Pontiac Solstice, which is, wide, short wheelbase, and a 73 El Camino with the LQ9 swap in it. So not exactly the same kind of setup, right? Like very like double wishbone in one, you've got adjustable camber front and rear and caster front and rear, I should say, in one, and the other one's a truck. So like how does your software manage huge discrepancies in that? And the why is what's really cool, I think, about what you're doing is how can it educate somebody that's trying to figure out, not only how can I make what I have better, but if I did this and made these changes, how would it change my performance of this vehicle?
Right. So the big discrepancies is, it's one of the hardest things to work on. And it's basically the core product, right? Like understanding the differences between chassis and differences between suspension is where I've spent a ton of time. And I don't have a quick answer for that, right? It's just been work and kind of looking at all the different variations that kind of exist. And I'll tell you that like we've focused on common cars that go to the track often. We haven't really, I don't know what would happen if we put like literally an SUV in there, like if it would be crazy accurate, but I also don't know how much adjustability there is in an SUV that someone's bringing to the track, right? Like we'd be able to tell them tire pressures to change, but like if my wife brought her Mazda CX-5 to the track, like, I don't know, there's not much we can do, right? But we can recommend some tire pressures, and if you want to dial out some understeer, right, we can manage that with tire pressures, but there's only so much you're going to be able to do on those cars. So it's a very tough and complex problem, a lot of data, but
there's one thing that works in our favor: manufacturers. So if you're talking production cars, manufacturers build production cars to understeer, right? that out of
Fair.
the gate. So then
Lawyers.
if you take the
Lawyers.
understanding, you know, the known knowledge. So this is where, you know, I would ask for things like tire pressure, alignment, and hot pressures, hot temps, because, you know, I would love to add in corner balance there, even if it's not corner balance, the corner weights, because if we can take that regardless of the car, then we can look at, you know, known data and say, okay, so whether it's an SUV or an El Camino or a Pontiac Solstice or an E36 BMW, there are going to be recommendations that put you in the right direction. And then it's going to be that third and fourth time you do a post-session interview that it's going to make improvements. But
cool. So the more data you feed it, the better the answers.
Oh, 100%. So right now for an E36, you know, I've put in hundreds of sessions, right? Friends of mine that run E36, I mean, the data is phenomenal. So the more C8 Corvettes we get, the better it's going to be. As you can imagine, Miatas will take off because there's so many of them, right? And so then, you know, this is where we can use the AI to look at the broader group and say, okay, the trend is this makes an improvement. So
the El Camino will never get information, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean,
maybe it's got QA1 and Hotchkiss cheaty stuff up front. It's amazing.
Now, where we do run into problems, and I joked about the LMP2 car, is, you know, we did have a data set run through there and we were completely wrong, but that's because it's not a production car and everything you do on the car is the opposite of what you know. So with open wheeled cars, there's going to be a learning curve, right? This is truly for what you see at the track. I'm going to say 90% of the time, as Tim mentioned, it's the popular cars that you see at the track, or what this is really going to be dialed in for. We're going for the masses. When you start talking about custom builds or, exosets or things like that, it's going to get a little quirky, but as long as they're putting in, tire pressures, alignment, corner balance weights, hot temps, hot pressures, we are going to be able to help point them in the right direction. We might not get the damper settings to be 100% accurate on some, home built, open wheeled race car, or something that produces 6,000 pounds of downforce, right? But those people have race engineers on their team. They don't need us.
Right.
So talk more about the package. Like, what if you've got a new customer, what do they need to set up? Like, what should they expect cost wise, time commitments, and that sort of thing?
Totally. Yeah. So cost wise, pretty reasonable in our opinion. So anywhere between $10 and $30 a month. And that's really just gated by how often you drive and if you need multiple vehicles, right? And then there's also an annual plan. So if you want to sign up that way, we offer 25% off, just billed annually on any of the packages that we have. Getting started, really, I think, Jeff, you've said this pretty well, but like on the Friday before the track, sit down at your laptop, spend 10 minutes entering your car information. You guys kind of asked, like, what are the top 3 or 4 or 5 things to put in? I would recommend putting in everything you can. And honestly, the reason to do that is because, I don't know, like sometimes you know what's on your car, sometimes you don't, but just do it in one fell swoop. Figure out where your car's at, what's actually on it. Like, go through those emails and receipts and maybe who you purchased the car through and just get everything in there, right? And then from there, like, show up to the track, tell us where you're driving, and start filling out your post-session interviews and kind of letting us get you going in the right direction.
And if you spend the time on the front end to put your car in, other than you making a mechanical change, that just carries forward. So, I mean, call it 30 minutes if you have to look everything up. If you don't have records, call it an hour. It's once. And then if you change a sway bar, then you can go in and update it, but you just duplicate your setting. You don't have to re-enter everything. And then really it's 5 minutes, post session, right? And it's giving you output, and the output is, things you can do at the track. We're not expecting most people to change spring rates at the track, right? Most people aren't changing the alignment at the track, but damper settings, maybe a sway bar setting, tire pressures, like the simple things that you can do in between sessions. Or again, for those that are endurance racing, the person in the car says, hey, it's doing this, type it in, see what it says in your 8-minute pit stop, swap the driver, pull the gas, adjust your tire pressures, and go.
Not on the hot pit and lemons, but yes, these are all
Correct.
still,
In
this is all still
theory,
good
yeah.
advice. This is very good advice.
If
Yeah.
you're not winning, then you can try all these things.
Yeah, pull into the paddock, take
Yeah.
some
Well,
time,
no,
make it a
Yeah,
good
because
for the
guess
next
what?
day.
weekend. Yeah.
Guess what? Because you're probably not winning. So
You're not.
go and pull into the paddock.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, and that drives another interesting thing. So, we're coming from a world of weird stuff, and you guys,
Mhm.
you go for the low hanging fruit, the Miatas, the E30s, the E36s, E46s. But it's sounding like this is still kind of community information based. So, somewhere down the road, Tim's loaded in all the information about the 73 El Camino. And then somebody at CMP is running a 70s GMA body. And they go, oh my God, this software actually has some suggestions for what we can do with this giant pig of a car. So is it, does it primarily focus on information from that particular track and then secondary to similar vehicles, or is it, the other way, or is there a balance?
Yeah, so we're generally, if we don't have car chassis specific information, we look at the suspension setup that they're running and then make information based off of that. So that's kind of like the fallback. As long as we understand what suspension you're running, we can make some pretty accurate kind of recommendations. And if we don't have that, we kind of fall back to just general recommendations, right? General directions, it's all directional, but again, it's kind of like we have to work with the data that we have presented to us. And then kind of go from there. But one thing I did set up recently, because this has been something that I've been thinking about quite a bit, is just like if we don't have a chassis, like how do we get that shirt up? And so I ended up sending myself an email every time a chassis, like a user signs up, we get a chassis that's not detected, so I can go in and just basically see how it's working, right? And do some dog fooding myself to make sure that the general direction that I'm thinking is still working and kind of applying to this car. And then if it's not, I got some work to do, right?
All right.
And the reality is there's a lot of cars out there, but a lot of them do share a pretty similar shape for recommendations, and the recommendations don't differ drastically. It's more by like, are you rear wheel drive? Are you all wheel drive? Are you front wheel drive? Do you have, again, like divorced rear arms? Do you have multi-link? Do you have, McPherson strut, double A arm? That's where the bulk
What
of
tires are you
the
running?
specifics. Yeah, exactly. And then like
Tires. Yeah.
other things that are more chassis specific are kind of like what's your wheelbase length, right? And that's where we can get a little more specific. And we do for some cars, right? Like Miata versus an E36, or like Miata versus an RX-8. Like you're going to go a slightly different route for both of those, but it's not going to be drastic, right? So yeah, so I'm hoping that the emails to me kind of get me shirt up when an El Camino kind of comes my way. I can kind of see how we're doing.
Well, and it's a joke, but it's not really a joke. And I think this does come back to the fact that you guys are doing this as I believe you described it as a side hustle in the initial emails.
Yep.
But you guys are enthusiasts, and like as you mentioned, there is a mindset among a lot of race car drivers that we hate unresolved questions. So if we want to get your nerd cackles up, you're actually encouraging us to bring you stuff you've never seen before, just so you guys can start developing that one. So yeah, I would expect to see my FSAE car on there.
I'm encouraging it.
There's that guy right there. Mental, that dude. Yeah. But it is like, we were at Sonoma, and we had a CRV. It is a race prepped CRV. We had a no kidding, like not the GMT 400, but the one that succeeded it, pickup truck. GMT 800 pickup truck. I'm sure those guys would actually love to at least have a direction to go with some of their suspension settings. Right. And, and just an education on that one. Chrissy, what weird stuff did you guys have out there? You had an F-250.
What?
In Road Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Oh,
yep.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant us. I was like, I have a S10, but I was like, I don't have an F250.
The Citroen SM and the Rolls Royce would have been some weird ones in there.
Stuff that we've actually raced. A 72 C Sprite. Yeah. Okay.
I've seen old Cadillac Eldorado.
Oh yeah.
Like the Mercur XR4 Ti.
Oh, we have a corner
just
market
drove one
on
of those.
X-Rad.
X-Radi, baby.
X-Radis. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, they're out there, but back to what I said earlier, they're all production cars from the factory designed to understeer, right? So we know that we can take into consideration brake of the car, corner balance, tire temps, tire pressures, because we're not going to tell somebody, if they show up at the track, oh, you have completely wrong springs, right? You already have it in your car. Like, here's what we're going to do to guide you in the right direction. If you're
and then
out
when
of
you get home, get on the internet and then buy the right things.
Yeah, right. If you're out of damper settings and you can't move your sway bar anymore, that means something is wrong, right? It's time to change off in its spring rate. And back to, one of the things at the track we like is big numbers. So, we often run stiffer springs than we may need, right?
I see so many racers with oversprung cars.
Yeah.
600-pound springs are the answer.
Yeah. Or they have, this crazy aero and their springs are too soft, right? So they have all this downforce and the springs are like, no moss, I can't take it. So but that's where if you're putting the data in, we can help you with it. Throw the oddball car. I mean, the emails don't come to me, so I want to see all the oddball cars. I mean, Tim had 54,000 unread emails. Like, let's make it 60,000. Let's get it there.
I click on the important ones. Don't worry.
Somebody has just added an El Camino.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Delete.
Yeah, delete. Delete user, delete email.
Your account has been canceled.
Somebody's like that. Eric's like, or Tim's like, yes, you can't. That's not a real. That must be spam. It's not real.
What I didn't tell you guys is the only button in there is refund.
Yeah.
If someone says that car.
Yeah. So,
all right.
There's just a lot that we can do. You nailed it. We are racers. We are track enthusiasts. We're very open and saying, look, this is not perfect, right? If you're seeing something erroneous, literally just send us an email. We'll credit you for your month. Like, we're not looking to steal people's money. We really this is the fastest way. Two guys that often sit right seat can help more people go faster, right? Because that's our goal. I'm the guy at the track that if I'm racing in my class, I'm telling the guy next to me that I'm competing with what I'm doing in the corner to go faster. Like, hey, I'm gaining on you here because I want everybody to go faster.
Yeah.
And, so this is the way that we can scale, what we've been doing on a one-off basis, and it's worldwide. We have a customer in Europe using it, which was pretty cool. We're international.
Wow.
It wasn't the goal. Yeah, it wasn't the goal. It's like, what can we do here? So we're excited to see the people that are starting to use it over the winter and go in and play around with it. Tim, I'm right. If they don't use their credits, they carry forward.
No.
Just kidding. You said you don't.
Right. We can change that.
Oh, it's wait till somebody. Yeah, but the fact that you guys haven't dug that into how do we maximize our profits on this one probably underscores everything you're saying about we're guys trying to help people go faster.
Yeah, one of the things we learned early on when doing this, and we're a couple of guys. We were at a grid life race and Tim's like, hey, if you need help with this, let's do it. And I'm like, Tim, I need help. 8 weeks later we had the soft launch. And that was, the beta launch. And then 8 weeks after that, we did, a public launch. But our big push is going to be end of February, early March, when the season kicks off. So even though there's stuff going on January, February, we know that it really goes full speed when the sun starts getting a little bit warmer and out a little bit longer each day. And we're seeing the people sign up. Tim and I haven't discussed it, but we'll send a discount code over to you guys for your listeners to use. So when they sign up for the annual plan, they'll save a little bit more
there
money.
You go. You guys talk about, folks buying springs and tires and all that other kind of stuff. And man, for an annual, this is less than a pair of springs in most setups.
Frugal,
less than a tire often. Yeah.
Frugal, not cheap.
No, well, but it does. I mean, all right. So I'm shamelessly looking at, I'm looking at your pricing stuff right here. So the starter, it's $20 a month, which, okay, that's you're still under $250. I mean, God, I think we've hurled $250 in parts trying to just get after a problem, and we weren't even sure what we were doing. How many parts did you end up buying for the Solstice, trying to solve? And it wasn't
you shut your mouth, Mental. You shut your mouth.
So
My
yeah,
wife listens to this podcast. I didn't spend any money.
Oh no.
They were
No.
a gift.
They were a gift.
They came
We
from
said-
they came from Tim, not
Yeah.
other Tim.
Yeah, other Tim.
Other Tim.
But
We
this
sent
is
them.
this is 4 events a month or 4 track days a month and
Mhm.
8. So that's 2 Lemons races right there. It's Saturday and Sunday, then Saturday and Sunday, and then 18 post-session interviews. So
Mhm.
that is a ton of opportunity to start refining your vehicle. Yeah, and then you're going to get smarter as you do it. So you're investing in you as a driver, and that's always the mod that follows you from car to car.
And my ask would be, give the advice a shot. I'm at the track, and when I'm there, I have, internet, the Starlink set up with internet, and I'll run stuff for people for free. And they're like, oh, that's not right. It's like, just go out and try it. Well, no, because my buddy told me I needed to be at 35 PSI hot. And I'm like, right, but you're running an 1,800-pound car,
Yeah.
right? Because the one thing the software can do that as a person is hard to do is take everything into consideration. So that's the ask, is like, give it a shot, pay the $20, try it for the month, right? The annual plan is definitely the better way to go. And we're seeing people use it consistently. It slows down now because of, holidays and off season up here, but put your information in and just give it a shot, right? Forget what you know for a minute and, see what happens.
What you know.
Or what your buddy knows.
What your buddy knows.
Your
or
buddy
what you
knows
believe.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
if you know something and you're not winning, do you know it?
do you know it? Yeah.
And one thing for you guys to know, you can save 20% by using the code EveryoneRacers on racetupco.com right now. I just set it up right this
That's
moment.
how you get
right?
stuff done.
See,
awesome.
That's how you get stuff done.
Just everyone racers, all one word.
Everyone Racers, all one word.
Yay.
It expires March 31st. So I don't want to hear this like, hey, it's winter, the car is not going to be. You have time. You have time. So if you're listening to this, it's still pre-track season. You can still use it.
And I have to give Tim
procrastinators
props.
out there.
I mean, we literally, Tim pushes the updates just like that. I mean, if we get feedback and we go in and we can look at everything that's entered, and if something didn't come out right, Tim is able to go in and, I'm messaging people like, hey, thanks for the feedback. Go in and try it again. Or we're able to go, hey, by the way, you said your car was 6,100 pounds, not 3,100 pounds.
That's happened a couple times.
But we do dig in, and, as you can see, Tim's done a phenomenal job just getting the software so things can happen that quickly.
Well, and let's not underscore it. He literally just modified it right there. You're not dealing with some faceless corporation. In the time it took for us to have the conversation, they responded to what they perceived as a customer need. So you're going to get response. This is awesome. You're going to get respect because it's another racer, not someone trying to take all your money. They're trying to make you go faster. I love this.
Trust me, if we wanted to take people's money, the software is worth a lot more than what we're charging for it. But Tim and I looked and said, what are people willing to pay?
Yeah.
And this is very reasonable. One slick for my E36 is more than the annual plan. One tire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Our 200 treadwears aren't that much cheaper.
No. Nope.
Yeah. And if this setup helps your tire last a little bit longer, then you're just saving money.
Yeah.
Or other car parts.
Can't afford not to do it.
You can't.
Tim threw the code in the chat if you didn't see it. So
Yeah.
Boom.
I just
Awesome.
updated the show notes. So the link is in there. The link, of course, to the software and to your Instagram and your Facebook.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And so we'll just give you a quick little sneak peek of what you'd be getting. If you use that code, save 20% off. So after you put in your setup information, right?
This is the
first
part,
thing that
listener,
you
where
do.
you're going to want to go watch this on YouTube because we're seeing the screen.
And there is a YouTube video on racetupco.com that kind of goes through everything. It has this awesome, awful narration that I put on it, but it does a job, tells you exactly kind of what to do and when to do it. So go watch that. Please, kind of before you go to the track, enter in all of your setup information. And once that's done, main thing you're going to want to do is handling analysis. So let's say we're going to the Glen. Watkins Glen. We'll just skip tire pressures and stuff for now. We'll skip tire
Oh, 35. My friend told me I want to run 35 high.
38
and you'll get to the spot where like, hey, where do you need help, right? Like, what's the thing you're trying to resolve? So I always have issues with mid-corner understeer in my car. It's probably a little bit due to me, but we'll say this is happening. We'll say it's happening at high-speed corners. Mid-corner feels understeery, and I want a neutral balance. We annotate this is safe and fast. We're probably going to mark this in red or something because actually driving an oversteery car, while it is a ton of fun, it can be so sketchy, and we don't want people sending it into the wall on mistake. So put in your information here, and if you have a track day started, we'll actually like pull this information live. We'll just look up kind of where you're at, and like we'll pull it, and basically when you go in and do a post-session interview, it's going to say like, hey, what is the current information right now? Like, did it change from dry to wet? Like, what's going on? Just so we kind of have the active kind of stuff going on. So we'll say it's a nice day over at the Glen, and you can type in any kind of random notes that you want here too. But so for mid-corner understeer, let's see what we get and what the recommendations are. This takes like 30 seconds or so to kind of churn in the background. Not 30 seconds. So mid-corner understeer, the first recommendation is reducing rear wing. That makes sense. Obviously, if you have too much rear wing, that's going to throw off your aero balance. So this would effectively shift it forward. So that makes sense. Sway bars and dampers, there's some recommendations here. This one, so this is one of those things where we're going to have to make an adjustment, but it's saying soften the sway bar down to 0 out of 5, but really the lowest setting on this is 1 out of 5. So reducing that. Stiffening the rear rebound dampening from 11 to 13 clicks. That makes sense. And then for tires, lowering the front tire pressure from 1 to 2, lowering it 1 to 2 psi. So all of those totally make sense. You can go ahead and you can select which ones you want to apply. And then once you apply these, basically what happens is we have versions of your setup that you can go back and check out, which is a little bit of a work in progress. Let's see here. But you can see, oh, maybe this, so it's a work in progress. But what it's really supposed to look like is you can kind of see all of the changes that you're making and when they happen. And the intention is here. So when I go back to the Glen after a track weekend, I want to know what I was running at the Glen, how I set that PB and where I was at. So that's something that I'm like working on literally as of a couple days ago. So it's I guess it's a little bit in beta. We haven't really announced it or anything. Yet. Yeah. So
yes, you have.
Now you have. But that's the idea, right? One thing that I always get frustrated with, and I know we talked about, but a lot of times I go to the track and I make a ton of changes. Like I'll go to the Glen, car will be perfect. I'll go to Palmer, car will suck. By the end of it, it's great. Then I go back to the Glen and the car sucks again. So it's like understanding where I was at. And if I can get back there to that baseline setup that I know was working pretty well and then kind of tune from there, it'll just save some cycles. So this was selfishly something that I kind of put in for myself so I can understand like, hey, I'm back at the Glen. Where do I need to be for kind of my baseline
standard
setup?
Point of departure where you you fine tune for the variables. Nice.
Yeah.
So Tim didn't point it out, but on the last screen, the Y was listed there for each one.
It was. Yeah. I can go back to that quick.
So just to me, that's been so important in, helping people understand it.
Yep.
There could be a day that they're in between, races, not sessions, and they don't have time to enter everything in. But if we can teach them, what to do, maybe they don't have to do it every time, right? Maybe they can jump out of the car, make the adjustment, get back out on track.
Yeah. And so one thing is here, I did mention how you plug things into ChatGPT sometimes and it gives you kind of bogus results. I ask it to kind of humanize some of the responses that we give, and then sometimes it does stuff like this. So this is one of the reasons why AI can kind of be a little goofy sometimes, but generally it makes it a little more friendly to interact with.
Yeah, and when people ask about how we're using AI, so back to ChatGPT, where the data is the data we're using. Tim just mentioned it. The AI is humanizing it. it's taking what you have. Now it's also, if somebody enters a 73 El Camino and we have no information on it, it can go to the web and go, okay, I know that car is going to weigh, what is it, 6,200 pounds stock, right?
Not with the amount of rust that this thing's got, but sure.
So
but you're in the ballpark.
It can go and pull information like that. But yeah, it's very much used to make it not just be bullet points, to make it be very conversational.
Fantastic. Well, this seems like it can be super helpful because there's so many people we know that don't really know what to do with their setup. Like they get their car actually running and working, and now like, well, okay, now what? And then they usually come ask me. So now they have this, right? So,
and Chris, you're not scalable, right?
I know. And I'm the guy with the beer at the track, and there's only so much I can do, right?
Beers are pretty scalable. I'll say that.
That is true. That's true.
Especially in our paddock.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, this seems like it can be very useful, guys. I'd like the UI. It seems like it really works well, and it's easy to do quickly and get results now, and then
it's inexpensive. It really is. Like, you guys have made it very, very approachable.
We like the frugal customer.
Yeah. So how do people find you? Because that's the critical thing now. They've heard this, they're interested. Where do they go?
Racesetuppro.com. Yep, it's that easy. Also, Instagram,
link in our show notes.
Yep.
Don't forget the promo code.
Yeah, you use the promo code, get the discount, and reach out if you have questions. But it's racesetuppro.com.
Awesome. Also, thanks for being here. Thanks for being awesome guests, and thank you for dealing with our schedules back and forth. So it's been helpful as well.
Well, thanks for dealing with me being late. I will never forget that.
No one knows if you didn't say anything, because we only push.
Neither will we, Jeff. Neither
will we. You guys are great. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy. Like, your first email was, we got recommended this on our social media feeds, and you sound exactly like our demographic. And yeah, I think everyone that listens to this show, absolutely, with the exception of Erling, and he's a bus driver in Denmark or Sweden, bus driver in Sweden. He may not be, but he'll probably still enjoy listening to this episode.
I'm sure he will.
If he reaches out, we'll give him 1 month free.
Yeah. Okay.
If he reaches out, 1 month free.
There we go. He's going to set up his Mazda 2 to optimize his street driving. It's going to be fantastic.
We're international.
Yeah. I'm not going to, I'm sold. So I'm probably going to be signing up here. Like, yes, as a, one of my Lemons paychecks will go to this one. This is going to be awesome.
Prepare for El Camino data coming in hot.
Yeah.
God damn it. I thought I was far away from that.
No.
I had months here.
No.
Tim C.
You
Tim
do.
C.
No.
This is how you get it. When that El Camino data comes in there, you just reply back and be like, oh, I'm going to need some hands-on research. So I'm going to need to fly out there and drive this El Camino. And trust me, you want to drive this El Camino. That's awesome.
We'll see you in March.
Where are we driving in March?
Sonoma Raceway.
I am so there. Yeah.
We'll talk offline.
All right.
I thought Tim was going to go the other way, though, and say 73 El Camino. The auto reply would be, twins showed up. Like,
right?
I can't. I'm really busy.
Sorry.
Really busy.
Wife, I got a work trip out in California. Hey, Sonoma works, headquarters in SF, so I can swing it. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. No. Sonoma's a great track. Oh, this has just been fantastic. All right. So yes. And
thanks,
if
guys.
you get this software, I'm sorry, let's just be honest. Listener, when you get this software, give us some feedback. Let us know how it's working for you, not just for Tim and Jeff, but talk to everybody else and talk about it at the track. Use that code on there. We've got your Facebook. We've got you on the gram. I'm going to start following that stuff. This is just great. So, any other socials that you guys need to push or any other ways to contact you guys?
No, mostly Instagram. We don't do much on Facebook. It's mostly Instagram. So it's been keeping us busy.
See, awesome. Chrissy, the future is on the gram.
Probably TikTok, but I'm old.
So my.
Oh
See the gray? Yeah, no, there's too much gray here for that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. Let's wrap this up. To everybody that's listening, hope you're listening on your way to a holiday party or something like that. So have a lovely Christmas if you celebrate.
What are we doing next week? We talked about it a bit.
Next week, we're talking about New Year's goals and
How
what
we failed.
Yeah.
what
Our
last year's
grade book
goals.
on our 2025 goals.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And we already know two failures on the show. So we'll see how the rest of us do. And then we'll talk about our next year's goals. So yeah, it should be a good show.
See, I didn't have software to analyze where I was. I didn't know where to go on that goal. Really, I was just unguided.
We don't need it for that. We can figure it out.
Mental goes unguided. That's going in the paragraph. Right.
Okay.
All right. That's enough.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
See you guys.
Yeah,
Merry
thank you guys so
Christmas,
much
Thanks for being
everybody.
here.
Merry
Thank you,
Christmas.
guys. Happy holidays. Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you will join us in the world of driving, racing, and building because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hated us, give us 5 stars and tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. You can still text us at 484-243-0455. Find us on Instagram at everyone.racers, YouTube and Facebook under Everyone Racers, or even Reddit at /E1R. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up, unless, like us, there is no shiny side, then just keep those wheels moving.